Okay, this is I was gonna do an unboxing, but I've checked the net and they already got unboxing. And how many times you got to see an unboxing video? People that follow my channel know that I use Note 4 as a source because it's just gorgeous. I can customize it as much as I like. Somebody sent me mail, actually several people, about doing a tutorial with Neutron because it's complex to the point of annoying, but it's absolutely outstanding. The theme that I put together right now, which is different than the one that you saw last time, is, I guess it was kind of matching the... I've been listening to Dark Side of the Moon repeatedly because it's my reference. It's also well known by people. If you don't know Dark Side of the Moon, then I guess I'm not talking to you. I grew up with this album in my mother's vinyl collection, and it was recorded in quadraphonic sound at Abbey Road Studio. It's a masterpiece. There's a lot of layers of. I think they had 16. They could do 16 layers pretty much at the same time and overlap them. Abbey Road was way ahead of its time. And it was incorporating the Phil Spector Wall of Sound stuff that I mentioned before. Dark Side of the Moon is outstanding for audio-related cues because, for example, On the Run has got an announcement of a woman at a, I believe it's an airport, and she's advising people to get their passports ready and to get in line. And it's really hard to catch that. The better your drivers are, the better the DAC is, the better able you are to hear that portion. And then there's left and right panning in the song On the Run. And before the song begins, as the song's beginning, there's a kind of a yawn that's switching between channels, and it's like a round sound, like something's kind of spinning. It's really clear on this, and it's clearer than I've heard it on anything that I can recall. Let me get into something that's important to people that follow me a little bit. Right now, so I'm going into no, that's English, right? Okay, there we go. User interface, no. User interface, by the way, is what you're going to want to get into if you're going to change all the colors and everything. Audio hardware is what I want to show you right now. As you can see, the DRV, which is the driver, is the Sony. The CPU is, of course, the Note 4. It always is. But so right now this is a 192 32-bit. The Sony is got a green light for what is called high res. It's also got a DSD light, but I don't listen to DSD files myself. I have in the past, but I actually don't really. I prefer good quality FLAC, and I don't think that 16 or 24 bits really makes much of a difference. But if 32 doesn't sound like it's dulling or doing anything wrong, I'll go with that. So the point is that I'm listening to music right now. That's time. Turn that down. And the Sony PHA-3 is absolutely taking care of the DAC stage. It is being passed through. Now, in order for you to do this, let me show you what you're going to have to do, because I have dither. I have nothing else. I have no filters going on. Audio focus I used to use, but I didn't. This was not working at first, and I couldn't figure out why. So as you can see, direct USB driver. Allow direct access to the USB device to bypass possible OS output format limitation, which is in the case of Android, it's 48 basically, is what Android ALSA and AudioFinger enforce on the audio before it goes out. Now it will do that if I select direct USB driver and I leave it at that. what I discovered with Neutron is that it still will default itself to Android. I never got that using any other thing, but this Sony's, this light is only going to come on if it's taking in the file that qualifies as high res. What those numbers are, I can't say exactly, but that light was not coming on at all, and I couldn't figure it out. So I went down to here, and this says follow source frequency. Try setting the output format frequency to the frequency of the current track if device supports it. Transition effects will not work for tracks with different frequencies. So basically this is saying that if you want to default to the frequency of the track and you don't want to do any upsampling or anything, select this. When I selected this and direct driver only, I got this light because the DAC was, this PHA is actually getting that file. It's not being put to 48 before it gets here. If it does, that light will not come on. I'm not going to even mess with it for you because getting this going was not easy. So follow source frequency. If you've got a high quality file, let's say at 24196, that's a good file, so leave it at that. There's no reason for you to be using some kind of a DSP or something. And Sony's, of course, has got its DXEE or whatever the fuck it is, and I would never use it. So this is impressive in that if it's 1644, that's what it's going to put out. So let me go back, and you can see Sony. You heard it playing earlier. I want to go back, make sure I didn't hit anything dither. If you are looking at this and you wonder what my settings are, I got direct USB driver selected and follow source frequency, and I'm out of there. Now, user interface. These are all the settings for the speed, damping, screen refresh rate, dynamic background items, spectrum sensitivity ratio. I go down to 10 because I think the default frequency is too fast. It doesn't really reflect the audio. So these are my settings if you look at it, if you're wondering what mine are. And these, if I click appearance, opacity of stuff, and these will be the colors in each one I selected. For foreground color, if I wanted to change it, I could select it anywhere through here and then hit the check button, and I could create kind of a palette or what would be like a theme. If I get out of here and go back to the start page, basically this is a bluish. I'm going to here, and I've got a very contrasting EQ, and I've got, this is very accurate to the music that's being played. Neutron for some reason doesn't. The stock is a very, very fast or slower. I don't remember which, but it wasn't. I like to watch the beats as they're coming in, and I'm listening to them, and it wasn't doing that in the regular configuration. Now you're thinking, okay, are you going to talk about the PHA-3? Sony is an interesting company. They have a rep on HeadFi, or a member of the trade. Or I really don't know what the relationship is with HeadFi, but when Sony releases a new item, they get a lot of front page attention. Jude himself, he does. I think he just did a video of the new Walkman, and so they're an elite sponsor, or they're very close to the people that started HeadFi, or both, or I don't know. I'm not going to go checking because I'm not an investigative reporter. It doesn't matter that much to me. I did reach out to Sony more than one time, and each time I did, I said, I live in Japan and I'd like to get item whatever, and it was never one of the expensive ones, and I'll buy it, or I'll forward it to the admin of the site who's also in Japan, and just do a review on it, because I get to try something that for a little longer than demoing at a shop, and they get a video on the net, and it seems like everybody wins. The problem is that Sony's never returned a mail to me. I've gotten contacted back by everybody. Sennheiser, everybody's returned mail to me. Sony never has engaged me, which is really annoying because my signature on the Head 5 forum, I've got 2 Sony items that I reviewed, which is the EX1000s, which I say are the finest IEMs ever made. I've not heard anything. It doesn't matter if they're $2,000 or if they're hybrids or if they're 12 BAs or 8 BAs, or I've heard all of these things. At first it was to hear what I was missing, and then when I wasn't hearing things that I had missed, because it seemed to be the opposite actually. BAs seem to have a lack of cohesion. Multiple BAs have the same thing, and I can pick it out when I listen to stuff like that's Dark Side of the Moon. So I'm touting the best IEMs that you can buy, regardless of prices, being EX1000s. It doesn't matter if you listen to classical music or hip hop. I'm obviously a basshead with tendencies towards 70s classic rock, and also this is a 1000s case, but these are the 800 STs. These are both in my SIG because they're awesome. I bought this, so I'm gonna get off. If you follow my videos, I go left, right. This was $1,000, and I thought, when I went and checked this out the first time, which was when they first released it with the MDR Z7 and the Z5, and the whole series seemed not good to me. And this was being sold as, combining with the Z7 with Kimber cable as being some Uber setup, and I thought it was nice, but this was over $1,000 US when I looked at it, which was at the very beginning. In yen, it equaled out to more than $1,000 for this thing, which is a portable DAC. It's got a battery life of about 5 to 6 hours. It's got the DAC that's in the X7, which is a ESS, I think, basically like a desktop one that takes a lot of energy, which is one of the problems why this doesn't have a long battery life. Saying that, between when I first heard this and balked at it, because it was $1,000 and had 5-hour battery life, I went and got the Mojo, and I had that twice. I'm not comparing these two sonically so much as I complained about the battery life of the Mojo, which was about 6 hours, sometimes less for me, as being unacceptable. But as I went and got the Mojo a second time and realized that my listening pattern actually, I don't need 6 hours in a day. Not often. I'm pretty busy, and I don't take the train to work, so there's not an absolute deal breaker when it comes to battery life. It would be nice to be longer, but 5 or 6 hours can do it. And the Mojo, I got okay with that. The reason I don't have the Mojo right now is because of I got kind of overwhelmed by the hype. The hype got so big, it got bigger than the item, which is unbelievable because the item itself is incredible. So for the hype to eclipse the reality is quite it's quite an achievement that's noteworthy, but it's not necessarily a good one. And I'm not throwing shade at that item because I paid my money twice for that. I bought it, I sold it for a loss. I bought it again and I sold it for like $10 loss. It was just I got lucky the second time. I thought I was going to eat funds twice, and I really had to confirm it because I get emotional about gear and the people around it, and I did it with the ASG. I bought those 3 times, and realized that it wasn't my emotion that was getting in the way of me enjoying it. It was actually the product not being as good as I thought it was. Is the Mojo great? It's absolutely outstanding. The volume set thing, because it's got memory, is for me a huge thing because I literally almost blew my drivers twice. So because of the way that I listen to it, and I listen at really high volumes, that's not something that I could keep working with. Came across a ad for this for $450, and also was given the option of return in 48 hours. The story behind that is I had done a deal with this person previously, and this is personal, but it was related to It's personal, so I'll keep it that way. I did a solid for somebody, and it said that they could return an item. They said they wanted to demo it for basically 2 days, and if they weren't happy, could they return it? And I was so confident that they'd keep the item. I said sure, and they kept it. And this turned out to be a company that was selling on Yahoo Auctions, which companies do quite often. They sell they look for people that are selling items, and then they'll put one around the same price or just undercut them by $20, and then theirs will get the bid first, or somebody will bid it, and they'll sell an item, and they also get a higher rep because they've got the sun and the umbrella symbols for Yahoo Auction. So I actually was familiar with the company because it's a big one in Japan, and they knew by the record, which is not me, it's my girlfriend, that I had done that deal, a personal one with somebody, and it had turned out good. So I got this for $450. This is such a long ramble, but I'm sorry, you guys know I do this. For $450, I thought, fuck it, why not take a try? I love the Sony. Maybe there's a synergy here. Maybe it'll work with the Droid really well. And I checked the thread, and right now this is using a Audio-Technica ATH cable that is just absolutely fancy. Let me tell you something about cables. There's a lot of beautiful ones, and while I'd love to get some beautiful gold something, and everybody who saw my hi-fi saw the gold one that I had, or copper, and also my Mojo had a custom Forza. I think it was the first one that had a custom done by Matt for the Mojo, and the problem with that is that these are very sensitive to outside signals, and because this is the critical link between the host and the output device, which is going to be the amp and the DAC, or just a DAC, anything interfering with this, either the possibility of it, is unacceptable. So having a very, very well shielded proper cable that's designed to have one end that works with the phone and one end that works with the DAC, and to be very, very stout. This is very, very thick, too much to a point. It worried me about the stress that this put on a couple other devices that I use it on, including the Mojo, so it wasn't really an option, but I like it with this one. So I'm using it right now. I'm listening to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of Moon. It's a FLAC vinyl rip. It's a high quality file. It's showing up on here because I'm selecting follow original file in the Neutron. The sound of the PH3, which you've probably been waiting like 15 minutes for, is better than anything that I've ever heard. Why did Sony have the balls to even remotely ask for $1,000 Ju-Mayan in Japan for this item? It's crazy. And if you look at the new stuff they've released, you think they're crazy. People will buy it though. I paid $500, $450 for this, and I'm absolutely stoked. And I got balanced cables coming for it, and it's, God, is it endgame? Twister used to say that, and it's not the best thing to say. So I guess I'll stay away from saying that. But as far as quality of sound goes, I don't think that I've heard anything that sounds quite as good as this, so I guess I'll be